Good afternoon. My name is Nurmagomedova Gulnar Kuzganbekovna, and today I'm going to talk about personal circumstances, occupation. So in part 1 of the speaking test, the examiner asks you some general questions about your personal situation. This may include questions about your occupation or the way you spend your time, if you don't have it. It is a good idea to prepare some ideas for speaking about this. What can you say that is interesting or unexpected? Can you give some opinions as well as the basic information? So try talking about occupation as you are doing speaking part 1. You also may work with a partner and take turns to play the roles of examiner and candidate. Here are some typical questions. At the beginning, the examiner could say, I'd like to ask you some questions about your occupation. Do you work or are you a student? What is the most interesting part of being in your occupation? What is the most difficult part? Would you say it is a good occupation? What kind of work would you like to do in the future? To talk about occupation, you should use appropriate grammar. So on the slide, you may see useful language. Your choice of grammar shows how you feel about your occupation. If you use present simple, I work for a company which makes car engine parts. This implies you feel the job is long-term. Present continuous. I'm working for a company which makes car engine parts. This implies you feel the job is temporary. And if you're a student, it is common to use the present continuous to describe your course. For example, I'm doing a master's degree. So now, let's do some practice. Choose the best sentence for each pair. The first pair. A. I study chemistry at the local university. B. I'm studying chemistry at the local university. And the correct answer is B. Second pair. A. I don't work at the moment. B. I'm not working at the moment. And the correct answer is B. The last pair. A. My family owns a chain of opticians and I run all of the branches. B. My family is owning a chain of opticians and I run one of the branches. And the correct answer is A. When you're talking about occupation, you also should learn some useful expressions. There are many fixed expressions in English. Learning and using them can make your English seem more natural and will help you improve your score in both the speaking and writing tests. So now let's start with the preposition. Look at the sentences and choose the best preposition to complete each of the sentences. First one. I work 2 or 4 a marketing company. Of course, it is better to say I work for a company. I work at advertising. Of course, it's better to say I work in advertising. Number 3. I'm working off at the local library. The appropriate answer is at. I'm working at the library. I work by or with some interesting people. Of course, we say, I work with some interesting people. I'm working on or about a very interesting project at the moment. And the correct answer is, I'm working on a very interesting project. I work as or at a theatrical lighting designer. Of course, we say, I work as a designer. So now let's move on to the expressions connected with work. So here you may see some expressions in the box. Let's start with the sentence 1. Doctors often have to work long hours. I work in a restaurant and I don't have a regular salary. I'm paid by the hour. I love seeing children learn. That's why I get so much job satisfaction from being a teacher. I don't work for any one newspaper. I'm a freelance journalist. That means I have no job security. In sales, you can start at the bottom and work your way to the top. It's a job with excellent career prospects. And the last one. I'm a road mender. My job mostly involves filling holes in the road. It's tiring and physically demanding work. So when you're talking about your occupation, you should provide plenty of details in description. Adding your feeling and opinions can make your speaking more interesting and can help improve your score. However, extreme and intolerant opinions should be avoided, especially concerning race and religion. Do not say, I'm a student or I work in a restaurant. Give more details in your answer. For example, I'm a third-year student studying law at the local university. Or, I'm working as a waiter in a pizza restaurant in the main square of this town. You may have seen it. It's called Pappagallo. The examiner may ask for your opinion or feelings about your occupation. It can be a good strategy to contrast a positive and a negative opinion. Here you may see the examples. It's not an easy subject. There is a lot of reading and the exams are very difficult. But it will be worth it. I will be able to get a good job when I graduate. And the career prospects for the lawyers are excellent. It is hard work, and I have to be honest, the pay isn't great. But it can be a lot of fun, especially when the restaurant is busy. I work with some really nice people. So now, prepare and practice. Here you may see 2 tasks for you. Prepare your speaking ideas about your occupation. Write some brief notes on ways to answer these questions. You may use all the ideas from the presentation. You won't be able to write notes in part 1 of the exam. You can do it in part 2. But doing it now will help you to organize your ideas. Here you may see the questions from the first slide. And the second task is write a detailed description of your occupation. Use a dictionary to describe it as accurately as you can. This will help you to organize your ideas and to learn new words that will be useful. So it is a good strategy to prepare your ideas and learn useful language. Do not memorize a speech and then give it in the test. What you say should seem spontaneous. So thank you for your attention.